and welcome back to the LinkedIn Logs podcast, your number one business entrepreneur, LinkedIn influencer podcast that everybody listens to. Hi, I'm your host, Chad White, if you didn't know. This is the LinkedIn Influencer podcast for websites, postcomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Welcome back. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could be so free. Believe it or not, we're still doing this. I took some weeks off. I take some time off sometimes. Sometimes I don't put up video, even though I have just edited video. And now we're still doing it. The number of episodes is not equal to the number of weeks that I've been doing it. Probably been doing it 20 plus weeks. It's only 15 episodes. Sometimes I get lazy. Sometimes I don't. Still without a full time, unfortunately. But here we are. Still kicking. Again, unfortunately. Hey, listen. I want to give some advice to recruiters. Last week I had a conversation with a recruiter that my sister is a recruiter, and she introduced me to somebody who is also a recruiter, but mostly for my industry, which is the entertainment industry. And she works as a recruiter for other industries. And we had a talk, we had a chat. He pushed it. Let me tell you this much. We'll get to that in a second. Hold on. But we had a chat, and he seemed very gung-ho on helping me out, helping me find some type of full-time employment. Any Hoosers. I sent him the day of. I sent him all of the things that he needs from me. It's been about 3 or 4 days. And it was already kind of iffy before I had talking to him. But for the first time, I felt seen and heard, as mental health people say. Yeah, I'm making fun of you. And now I want to reach out to you recruiters, and there are just some things that I see all the time on my LinkedIn page that I think we just need to go over. Because quite frankly, it's pissing me off. And I follow a lot of recruiters, some from Warner, some from the Weather Channel, just different places I've worked before. And it is fascinating to me to see, I think the way people present themselves versus how they actually act is just vastly differs. On one hand, some people mean their words. Like me. Someone cuts me off in traffic. I go, I hope you die. I mean it. Then there are people who will go to TikTok or their social medias. They'll talk about mental health, how sad they are, and how you should treat everybody nicely. And then they'll post in an alias on Reddit or on Twitter or what have you, and just say the most horrible, duplicitous things. There's only those two type of people. And I think every recruiter I've ever spoken to is that second one. I think a lot of people are that second one, in fact, including people that I've worked with at every job I've ever done. I'm not saying that one job. I'm saying every single job I've ever done. Recruiters in particular, I think you need to back your words, because if you're going to offer, help or a shoulder to lean on or just ability to talk to, I think the better option would be not to ignore emails, messages, phone calls, things of that nature. Because there are people I'm on LinkedIn right now, there are people in my messaging who I've reached out to on multiple occasions and via email and via phone call who have ignored me, who have said they're super busy, but they post 7 times a day, and it's all mental health posts on LinkedIn, things of that nature, which is which stinks, because you can't follow through, whereas I'm supposed to follow through. I mean, back in the 2000s, the 90s, the 80s, whatever, if you reach out to somebody, that was like that was chutzpah. You showed chutzpah. You go out, you apply to a job, you talk to people, you keep reaching out. This is the number one reason why I hate networking. Like, I genuinely, we should not have to do it. I shouldn't have to fake be interested in someone else's BS, because quite frankly, I'm not. And so this thing where people who have been in the same job for the past 20 or 30 years, who think that you can still do the same things from 20 years ago and at work. Like, how many times have I been to a wedding and a friend's been up there and he's giving his little speech and he's like, I tried talking to her and she blew me off, and then we talked all summer long, and then I just kept asking her out. Or how many times have someone been like, you just got to keep bothering the recruiters. You got to keep bothering the boss people. And for both types of things, in my experience, that has never worked. So, and for me, I've had to lie on my resume to get jobs. I've had to let AI write my offer letter, whatever the hell that thing's called, cover letter. I'm just saying, this is big advice to recruiters. If you do not have the time or the skill or the ability to talk to someone after saying, I'll give you, if it's an empty gesture, hey, you know what, send me a message anytime, send me this, send me that, then don't offer it up. I'm never going to offer an empty gesture to anybody. When I say, I'm sorry that happened to you, or how can I help, or hey, do you need somebody to watch your dog, your kid, whatever, I mean that. But every recruiter that I've ever met, from Warner Brothers to Bounce TV, Scripps, Weather Channel, WXIA, Tegna, every single recruiter has been I'm gonna mince my words here. Every single recruiter has not stood up to the challenge. And I know their names, and I can call them out right now, but I'm not going to. They won't listen, but I'm not going to. Recruiters, you have to step up. You have to. It's so frustrating. And don't. Oh, my mental health. Oh, if you are a leader in your group, and no, you have to. None of that matters. You have to do better. Okay. I'm gonna keep calling them out. I do not care. And if they add me some type of blacklist, then whatever. Because if this is a thing that pushes you over the edge, someone calling you out for not doing your job, oh boy, you got a lot of things coming. All right. Let's move on. This comes from Deadline, written by Peter White. Let me pop open the window capture here. There are more layoffs coming from Warner Bros. Discovery. Now, if you don't know, they just launched Max on the 23rd. Today's the 24th. They just launched Max, which is a rebranded HBO Max, which, if you ask me, is a stupid name. It's the dumbest name in the world. You're sanitizing HBO. I understand they want to encompass the Discovery brand as well, and cartoons and all that stuff, but the name HBO stands out more than Discovery. I could go to Africa. I could go to Nepal. And be like, you guys seen The Leftovers? You like The Sopranos? And they go, we love HBO. What is Discovery? There's more layoffs coming. I was caught in a set of layoffs 6 months ago. Timing is yet to be confirmed, apparently. But they're going to be happening over the next couple of weeks, which is later this summer. Also interesting, I'm seeing a lot of people laid off who have been there for years and years, and they're complaining about not having jobs. Like, look, you could be in my position. Just saying. There's been a huge percentage of people who lost their jobs at Warner. What it is. Not Warner Bros. Discovery, at Warner. And it's going to be that way. I'm guessing at least for the rest of the year. I'm thinking there's going to be more layoffs well into the wintertime. And it's going to be a very lean company on Warner's part. The Discovery part is going to be as fat as those 1,000-pound life people. Yeah, I don't care anymore. I had this thought when I saw this article this week. Bob Iger left Disney, and they brought in Bob Chapek. The board brought in Bob Chapek. Disney didn't do too hot under Chapek because he's a businessman who has really no care for the craft of what Disney is. And then he was ousted, and Iger was brought back to kind of shepherd the company through a lot of turmoil. And yes, they do have their layoffs, and Ant-Man and the Wasp didn't do well, and other movies that I don't care for didn't do well. Like I care for Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantum Mania, that's what it's called. And these movies, and they're movies that didn't do well, and they're losing subscribers on Disney Plus, and now they're gonna bring in some Hulu shows from Hulu and throw them on Disney Plus for some reason. More so than what they've been doing, because I think Blackish is on both Hulu and Disney Plus and anything. And also they're pulling a Warner card and taking things off of Disney Plus. I got to finish Earth to Ned. I'm still on the Penn and Teller episode. I got to finish this thing. There's like 8 more episodes. I'm not going to be able to finish in the next 6 days. My theory is, I believe, I have a very big feeling that based on the way CNN is being handled by Chris Licht, and I like Chris Licht. I do like him a lot. Chris. I like Chris. Usually everybody hates him. He was slapped on stage at the Oscars, and we have to worry about his mental health. The thing is, I have this big feeling that the way that what's happening with CNN this morning, what's happening with the 9 o'clock hour, what's happening at CNN across the board, that all this and then on a bigger scale, what's happening with Max and the DC Universe movies and on the linear networks. I don't think that Zaslav, and then also just being called out for making $250 million last year after thousands of people were laid off, including yours truly. I don't think Zaslav is long for this. For the head of Warner Bros. Discovery. I think there's going to be a point where he is ousted similarly to Chapek, or he steps down. I think he gets in, makes his money, and leaves. And I only say that because he has the same kind of business mind as Chapek. Which is not to say that he can't lead the company, but all in all, I don't think he can. I don't think he has the. I think what's ahead of him is Discovery. I really do think that Discovery is what he thinks is the key to turning both companies around, whereas it's Warner. Discovery is Nat Geo to Warner's Disney Plus, to Disney rather. Disney could get by without Nat Geo. Warner could get by without Discovery. When Max opened, when Max relaunched, when Max launched yesterday, I thought it was going to be an update to the HBO Max app, which is what it should have been. But it wasn't. And across my Android phone, my iPad, my PlayStation 5, and my Xbox One, and my LG TV, there's 5 different devices, I had to download the app and re-log in, and then delete the HBO Max app. And scrolling through Max, it again felt like HBO Max, which is good. They used the player for HBO Max. And there's a lot more emphasis on everything, but mostly Warner. And when I saw that, I just thought, this is just HBO Max with Discovery on top. You scroll down to the genres or whatever, and you see TLC, HGTV, Food Network. I watch those networks, but only on YouTube TV, where I get, it's Thursday night and Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives is on, or Friday night or whatever. I just turn it on, and it's on. I switch between that and The Simpsons and PBS NewsHour. Warner is the name. Discovery is the addition. Warner can get by. And even adding to that, CNN. Warner and CNN can get by. I don't think Zaslav is long for the head of this company. Because at least for Iger and in some cases Bob Bakish, who's the head of Paramount, no one knows who Bob Bakish is. The regular person doesn't know who Bob Bakish is. I think like somebody who is into Disney would know who Bob Iger is. Because he knows the material. He leads with heart. And even in some cases, Kevin Feige, who's the head of Marvel Story or whatever. People know him, and he does a relatively good job. I mean, first things first, we got to get all these white guys out of the office. Just put a moratorium on hiring old white men to run things. More layoffs are coming, and they're going to tell you everything's fine, but at some point it feels like a fire sale when people are let go from companies, and then also you can't watch a show like Westworld on Max, but you can watch Dr. Pimple Popper's second TV show, or My 3,000 Pound Life, which is about 2 tow trucks. All right, and then the final thing. This comes from the Wall Street Journal, written by T-Ping Chen. 9 rounds of interviews and no callback. It's harder than ever to land a white-collar job. I will extend that out to every job everywhere. We got layoffs. We got hiring freezes. Some companies are forcing people to come back full-time. I just had a friend move to Nashville because the app that she works for, the very popular, let's just say if it was a clock, it'd go TikTok. The app she works for forced her to come back into the office. I lost a friend over, and I lost 2 friends because she was dating somebody. And I lost a god dog. I was a godfather to a dog. But that might be changing soon. Ooh. A little kitty cat might be getting a brother. We'll see what happens. We'll see if this happens. This is a story that encompasses everything that I've been dealing with, except this is something that these people get even further with. They're getting interviews and no callback. I'm getting like initial messages and no callback. I got yesterday, after 2 weeks. What was it? Let's see. What is this? Straight Arrow News LLC messaged me. After 2 weeks ago, I provided them with all the things I applied. I provided them with all these things that they asked for. And then the guy came back and asked me a question, and I responded immediately. Nada. And that's not the worst thing that happened to me. Trust me, I've got way worse things that'll come up naturally when I talk about them, or when I talk about them. So this young woman, Megan Burr, had a 9th round interview. When the woman conducting the interview said she was convinced Burr was able to do the job, the interviewer then asked, "But what else can you do?" Which is insane to think that they want you to do more than what is advertised of the job, and not like go above and beyond, but like be able to do other things. Lots of jobs were hiring during the pandemic, and now we're seeing a stoppage and then a layoff of that, and like I talked about with Warner and Disney. 3 or 4 interviews are now normal for clients, which is usually up from 1 to 2. I know when I interviewed for WABE, they brought me in 4 times and wasted my time each time and didn't answer emails. I think it took roughly a month. I don't want to work there anyway. A horrible location. It would be so much traffic getting back. And it's a bad website and a bad NPR station. People say looking for work in the recent months. The feeling of competition has intensified. Back in November, when Riza Moliev says he was laid off from his Jesus, wish I had that, a year job at the mattress company Casper, the positions he was applying for showed 75 or 100 other applicants on LinkedIn, which is very true, which is everything I see. Even for like small associate producer jobs, which offers the ability to see real-time snapshots of blah, blah, blah. By the spring, he was seeing more like 1,000 people applying for every job he was going for. I've seen upwards of 500 for jobs. He said with some positions attracting hundreds of applicants within minutes of posting. That is very true. I see that as well. Oh, he graduated in 2020. He was making, Jesus Christ in heaven. Oh God. So I think, you know what? This is what's going to happen. I think that if I was president, when you graduate college, you have to go through, I would force you to go through 3 years of turmoil of working in restaurants and factories and dog walking and struggling. So you know what it's like to bleed. So you understand. Oh no, I lost my job I've had for 3 years. Get out of here. It's ridiculous. Making 90, you got health benefits. I had health benefits once for a year and a half. My resume says 2 years, but I'm lying. As recently as a year ago, employers were competing fiercely to hire talent, dangling 5 figures, signing bonuses, and offering remote work and other perks. At the same time, many companies relaxed their hiring criteria, desperate to get people through the door. That is no longer the case. And also, I want to know, why do jobs ask for GPAs? I'm like 8 years out of college. I don't even know my GPA. Also, I lie. I fully lie. I always say like 3.6. And what do you need a GPA for somebody writing a news story? You have to write at a 5th grade level. That's it. Oh, there's also a thing about no job hopping and people who want companies who want tons of experience. For me, it just doesn't make sense to have. It's not a very diverse pool of people they questioned. For me, it just doesn't make sense to have so many candidates and then end up hiring within the company, or take people through this rigmarole, this game of not being able to hire them. Because for me, I think now we're at a point where we got to start calling people out on these things, and without fear of repercussion. I mean, it's like if I'm gonna be bold and I don't know, ask somebody out, I'm not gonna play games anymore. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. So why would I go through this game of all of us that these companies seem to want to play, especially in their recruiters? It just doesn't make sense to me. And really, what is the concern? What's the fear after the fact? I think the biggest thing is to combat what I just said is that we get to, after a certain amount of time and all this trying and everything, you finally get to a good place where you think you have it and you just don't want to mess it up. But I don't think we should be concerned about that or scared of things like that in nature. I don't know. I just think it's time to hold companies accountable. Like, I don't like him, but Adam Conover, who is he hosted a show. He was an internet personality. He hosted a show on True TV called Adam Rules Everything. I'm refusing to call him a comedian because I don't think he's very funny, and also I don't think he's ever done stand up or even improv. But he did host a show on True TV called Adam Rules Everything. But there's something he said I appreciated a couple of weeks ago at the start of the writer's strike, the writer's pandemic, which he said he called out specifically David Zaslav for making $250 million last year for essentially doing nothing. And yeah, you're a businessman. You've done business before, but I guarantee you give me Warner Bros. Discovery for 6 months and I'll turn it around real quick. It is a challenge. Let me beat you in an arm wrestling competition. I'll win too. I'll beat you in that too. But he called them out for and said that could pay 50,000 writers compensations, which makes sense. Yes, and that would. I don't think, like, after 50 million, like, what are you doing? After 10 million, what are you doing? You don't need it. Beyonce and Jay-Z just bought California's most expensive house at 200 million. Let's just say Zaslav did the same thing. He still have 50 million left over. I know taxes, blah blah blah, whatever. But still, he still have money. He still have a couple of bucks left over. What do these big white dudes need when they're in charge of these companies? Again, maybe they should learn to struggle like the rest of us. It's frustrating, to say the least. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where there's other podcasts. LinkedIn Log, Late Night Show is on hiatus until the writer's strike ends, so I can actually have things to talk about. And then the Constitutionals is like an entertainment business news show. There's interviews and stuff. And the youtube.com/cpluscomedy. See a video version of the show. TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, @cpluscomedy. Me, @ChadBlackWhite. Tell your friends about the show. And yeah. Okay. One day I'll get back to the OnlyFans B story, but right now I'm tired. All right.